There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play? They're here.
Welcome to the Horror God.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live podcast of the Horror Cut. We have just finished watching Evil Dead 2013. 2013, thank you. This was my pick. I've been dying to review this on the podcast, and I thought it would be a great one for a live audience, so thank you very much for coming out for it. I know there's a few people in the audience that haven't been before, so just to give a quick introduction, my name's Gary, and this is Steg. Still Gary, and still Steg. Steg is an actor. You've been acting for how many years?
All my life.
My life.
10 years?
I mean, I cast you 10 years ago, and you were doing it before that, so we're getting old.
11 years. 2015 I started.
And I do writing and directing as well. So we both kind of loosely work in the industry, I would say loosely, and we kind of try and not rip a film apart. Like, we try and find the positive things that we like in the film, because one day we'll have a film playing somewhere and people will rip that apart. So we want to be kind. So yeah, Steg, what's your history with this film then? And I guess, the Evil Dead franchise in general.
Okay. I saw this film when it came out back in the day, 2013. Saw it at the showcase with a girl. And she must have been like, what the fuck is this guy watching? She didn't know anything about the original trilogy. Yeah, when I first saw it back then, I really enjoyed it. I remember it being quite effective, obviously very, very gory, and it's hard to talk about this film and not talk about the original trilogy.
It's funny you saying that, because right now we've got 2 episodes coming out on the Rob Zombie Halloween films as well. Yes. And it was extremely hard to not mention the original when talking about either of those films as well. So this is quite similar.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you?
So I was actually just saying to David, who's in the audience, that I watched the original Evil Dead maybe during COVID for the first time. So I didn't grow up watching that. I watched everything else, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, you name it. But I just never really got round to watching Evil Dead. And then I put it on, and obviously the history of that film is it was made in an extremely low budget. It was basically grassroots filmmakers just going out to a cabin in the woods and shooting the film with absolutely no budget and just doing what they can. And I think it was really praised for that when it came out. Obviously came to it too late, and I didn't gel with it. I just thought everything looked a little too silly, like the makeup looked like lipstick on the people and things. And I know that's me, right? I know that's my history with it. So that wasn't me shitting in the film, but I thought, you know what? A few years later, they did Evil Dead 2. I watched that as well. The first half is just the first film again, but with more money. Right? It is, though. And then
There's a reason for that, but aye.
Do you want to speak about it?
Well, I should try and work out who here has seen the original Evil Dead trilogy.
Yeah, half the audience there.
Half the room. Okay, cool. So Evil Dead 2 was done in 87, so like 5 years after the original film. And Sam Raimi, who directed the first film, he made a film after Evil Dead, and it tanked. It didn't do very well. Can't remember the name of it, but it was like, right, we need to make some money. I need to give this another go. What do I do? So it was like a sequel to Evil Dead, which was his most successful film at that point. But the problem was he didn't own the rights to it. So to shoot Evil Dead 2, they originally wanted to do a recap, like a 10-minute recap, but they were like, you can't do it. So they had to basically reshoot the start of the original in a different way so that it sort of lines up to become an eventual sequel. Bruce Campbell said that the way to watch the first 2 Evil Dead films is to get to the part towards the start, at the end, where Ash gets hit against the tree by the camera lens demon, I call it, and when he falls into the puddle, stop the film there, put in Evil Dead 2, put it about 15, 20 minutes in when he comes out a puddle, and that's when you start Evil Dead 2. So if you watch them that way, they will kind of make sense.
Or you could watch the remake. But yeah, sorry. No, that actually does help a lot, and to find out a bit of history about it. I've still not seen Army of Darkness. I know, I'm sorry. There's gasps in the audience there, like, what you even doing up the front there? Give me the mic.
It's quite funny because we've not actually spoke a word about this film and we've been up here for 10 minutes, but yeah, it's unavoidable.
Yeah, so I guess I went to the cinema to see this film as well, and I went in not thinking about it as an Evil Dead film, just as a horror movie, and I was just really entertained. And I remember coming out the cinema and seeing the reviews, both audience reviews and critics, who were just like, oh, it's got nothing on the original, which is what everyone says, but it was kind of getting panned, and I was like, I really enjoyed it. Like, it's not trying to be a step-by-step remake. It's doing its own thing, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. I think as a horror movie, like, you can't deny that it's got some great set pieces, some great scares, some great body horror, interesting characters. I guess there's interesting mythology with the book. And now, after a follow-up to this film came out, Evil Dead Rise, which we can talk about at the end, this is now no longer considered a remake, and it's like another book, and there's like lots of Evil Dead books, so it's like, it's not even a remake anymore. I guess it's now became a sequel, a requel, I guess. But when you watch the one after this, which I recommend if you enjoyed this one, it kind of goes into a bit more lore where there's like records and stuff like that. It's not just books and things. Now there's other possessions. But we're here to talk about Evil Dead, the requel, I guess. So
yeah. Oh, actually, how many people saw this tonight for the first time? Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, about half again.
No, that was most. That was the majority, Gary.
Sorry, okay, all right, okay, jeez. So this was my pick, so I guess I should try and give the 30-second synopsis. Alistair, stop rustling, I'll pick that up. You're a sound operator. So I guess my synopsis, my 30 seconds loose synopsis on this film would be that Mia's group of friends take her to a cabin in the woods to help her kick drugs, but after one of her friends tries to do some light reading, they release a demon, and she's definitely going to be back on the drugs by the end of this film with everything she's went through.
It's kind of the film's played like a drug trip. It's just wild and nuts and over the top.
Totally
but
is.
There's a lot of good things in it with like, you know, characters and things like that as well, which I'm sure we will talk about.
David. Please. You have to get me out of here.
Leave this book alone.
No. You don't understand. There was something in the woods. And I think it's in here with us now. You're all going to die tonight.
So I'm going to go first with my first point in the film, and it is the demon itself. Like, I think it is kind of a cool concept character. Obviously, when we think of demons and we think of like possessions, we think of like The Exorcist and even something like The Exorcist or other possession films. It's in the body, and that's it. It just possesses one person and until it lets go and goes to another one. But in this, there's kind of like it's kind of more like a virus or something like that, where it spreads. I love the opening of the film where we're introduced to the demon. So we have this woman running through the woods, being hunted. It's all misty and foggy. And then suddenly she looks round over her shoulder and there's someone standing behind her and the sack comes over her head. And you think, okay, this is their first victim here. And it turns out it subverts it with going, actually, these are the locals that are trying to contain the demon virus, I guess. And she's actually the baddie. She's the antagonist for that set piece. So I just love how the demon is introduced. But one question I do have on it is, do you think the demon kind of controls like nature and earth as well? Because there's obviously, from the original film and this one, the iconic tree scene.
Yeah.
Maybe iconic's not the right word. The grim tree scene, I guess. It seems to control the vines and the trees, the flood, the rain, the kind of blood downpour we get at the end. And even after Mia has been attacked in the trees, when they find her, all those thorns and vines seem to have disappeared. She's kind of sitting out in like a clearing, like an opening. And I wonder, like, how much do you think the demon controls its like surroundings?
Yeah, I think a great deal. I think that's one of the things about it is it's almost like part of nature. It's old, you know what I mean? It's been around for a long time, and it's got sort of it's got quite a wide reach. Yeah.
Because one of the guys, Eric, in it actually says that it doesn't matter if we escape, it will kind of follow us. But I wonder if it's got a radius in the area, but like it's got a 6 mile radius. But if they move to New York, it'll have 6 miles of New York. I wonder if it's like it can only spread so far, maybe. Another question, kind of about how to keep it at bay. Obviously, we see the book, and it's got like the black wrap over it. It's got the barbed wire, but there's all the dead animals hanging, which they get rid of. And I wonder if that was actually playing a part in the film, or was it just like it was something the locals were trying and it doesn't really work? Because once David, the brother, cuts all the dead animals down, it's right after that the dog is hurt/killed. Because he goes out to bin the dead animals and he finds the dog hurt in the kind of hut shed area as well. So do you think that was, again, just with the nature and stuff like that, I wonder if that's was actually kind of helping keep it at bay as well as the binds on the book?
Aye, because I guess in sort of like witchcraft and rituals, like cats and things like that, they're sort of held in some regard, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Ah, interesting. Never thought about that. There you go.
We will bring it to the audience, so don't worry. Keep your thoughts there.
See on that, like the topic of the kind of cold opening with the family, we don't get any idea of when that's set, when that's happened, do we?
No, and it gives me House of Eyes vibes, and it's deliberate. You know, there's like some of them are a little deformed, but it's really bad because with like, I mean, I spoke about it earlier. Like, I love the Wrong Turn films and that as well, but it's really saying if you've got a deformity, you're a baddie, and even this film kind of plays on that a little bit. There, it's like we're going to get people with like deformed facial features and stuff, and you're going to think they're evil, and then we're going to subvert that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of playing tricks on us there.
Well, so when I watched it a couple of nights ago, I don't know if it was mentioned in this one. I watched the unrated version, and Mia and David spoke about, you know, when they came to that cabin as kids and how it's kind of changed. Was that mentioned tonight in tonight's viewing? Was that? I think so. Yeah. So for me, the question is the timeline. Would they not have noticed this before when they were kids, when they were running around the place checking it out? It's almost like, where did this stuff...
So I think you've answered your own question. I think you're right. I think it's set between them being kids. That the opening is set between them being kids and when they arrive back, because the cabin has been broken into and you see the crowbar lying in the ground as they walk in. The padlock's busted. And then you see the pillar, the hatch, like the pillar and the hatch is all charred. So that must have been between them. I don't know how they managed to set fire to that wooden pillar and not put the cabin up in flames, to be fair. No, I've just thought about that right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, the book is obviously, the book is what it is, but why just leave it there with a bin bag and some barbed wire? You know, it's like...
Don't you shit in this film?
I'm just saying.
It's there in the original as well.
I know, but I'm just curious. Well, at least bury it or something. Hide it. Don't just leave it there. I mean, if I saw a book that was wrapped in barbed wire, I'm opening that motherfucker. I am opening that. So, you know, maybe...
Going back to the demon as well and talking about the kind of zombie-like features of it, it seems to spread through either bites or bile. It's the two ways. But There's a great shot when Olivia, who's the nurse, is possessed, and she's ripping at her cheek with the shard of glass. And Eric, the guy with the glasses, comes into the room, and he's looking over her. He's towering above her, and the camera is kind of shooting over her left shoulder, and she turns and just looks at the camera. And it gave me, I don't know if there's any gamers listening or in the audience, but the original Resident Evil game, when you first encounter the zombie, it's the same framing, and the zombie kind of just looks over its shoulder and growls. And I feel like that might be a little nod, because there is that kind of zombie feel to the demon here. But it's the exact same framing, and the slow turn and the music, it just really captivated that moment. Yeah.
My first positive point in the film is there is a little bit of humour, but the lack of humour in the film compared to obviously the original 3, and it's kind of, the question is how would you remake at this point the Evil Dead film to a modern audience? And I think it's a brave decision to extract the humour from it, make it its own kind of film, but again, watching it tonight with an audience, there's a little bit of humour in it.
100%. I would say I've got so many notes on this film. So, but you're right. I think the film, the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe even up to 40 minutes, it's serious. The tone is serious. You've got this woman who's trying to kick drugs. They've lost her mum to what sounds like maybe something like dementia or Alzheimer's as well. And then there's one line in the film where somebody's possessed, might be Mia, and she says, "You're all going to die tonight," which also reminds me of the Resident Evil movie where it's like, "You're all going to die down here," which reminds me of Newt and Aliens.
Mostly.
But at that point, there's like a tonal shift in the film, and it does become extremely gory, but extremely funny as well. And I think what this film does is it tries to bring the humour out of the body horror. One example of that is Eric. How is Eric surviving so long? And you're watching it going, how is he still alive and kicking?
That's his punishment.
I know. Right, so he gets stabbed in the chest with a shard of glass. He gets stabbed in the eye with a syringe. He gets a
nail gun.
Nail gun. And I actually counted it. Let me see if I can find it here. Yep. The nail gun was fired around 33 times with 20 landing on Eric. He also gets the crowbar to the hand.
You might be the first person in the world that's ever done that.
Do you know, I did it when I watched it 2 weeks ago, and then I double-checked tonight. I'm so sad. The first proper laugh I heard in the audience was when David's girlfriend, I forgot her name. Natalie cuts off her arm with the electric knife, and David and Eric run back in, and she's like, "I feel so much better." And then you just see the arm flop.
Brilliant, isn't it?
See? Yeah, it's so good.
Someone went to the toilet when that was happening, but so they missed it. Who was it? I think it might have been yourself, Kirsten, maybe you, no? Did you see that? Because she left and I was like, where are you going? This is like one of the best parts. I was ready to shout and I'd just be like, you're missing something really good, come back.
But no, I think you're right. I think the tone, it starts off an extremely serious film, and once we get like the serious thematic messages out the way, and it's all about the horror and the body gore, it's kind of not caring about what it was trying to say anymore, and it's just like, you're in for a ride now, and just enjoy it. And I do. I think, like when somebody says, "Have you seen Evil Dead?" I think of the nail gun scene, because it just goes on, and poor Eric. And it's weird because I think Eric's quite a whiny bitch in this film at the start. He's quite unlikable, and I think he's unlikable because we are rooting for David at the start, and he doesn't like David because David's not been there for him.
He's carrying this animosity towards David. I mean, I guess the whole group is a little bit.
Totally. But I think what's interesting is then the film puts Eric through absolute hell, and by the end of it, you're like, poor Eric.
Just die, Eric. Just die.
But just while we're on that, actually, let's talk about some of like the body horror and the special effects in this, because I think everything still holds up. This film's over 10 years old now. I don't think there's anything that looked shit, I guess. And there is a mix of CGI and practical effects. So like The burning and the boiling water in the shower still looks great. The slicing into the jaw. Eric pulling the needle out of his, just under his eye.
I did
Exactly.
hear someone over the side of the room go, oh, at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe an Alistair, aye.
And
Is
there
it
was,
good?
there was someone as well that kind of gasped when Natalie is extracting the pus from her bite under the sink as well. People are like, "Ugh." So it all, and even just the demon itself still looks great.
Yeah.
And so I don't really fault anything to do with that practical
Nope.
effects there
Aye, the
as
practical
well.
effects are absolutely tremendous in this film. Absolutely brilliant. I don't know who done them. Any idea? Did we get the name?
Don't you pass that off to the filmmaker as if I should know?
Well, you should know. I don't know who done the effects in this film, but they're absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I'd quite like to speak about, just because we mentioned it earlier, so it's a nice segue, is the themes and what is the film like trying to say. And I think there is some interesting themes in this. The first one is, I guess, let's start with like the drug addiction on it, because drugs and alcohol can possess people, and I don't think it's any coincidence. Thank you. Cheers for that. Cheers. I don't think it's any
Anytime.
coincidence that one of our main characters is addicted to drugs and becomes possessed. Basically, drugs and alcohol can turn you into someone that you don't even recognise, someone your family and friends don't recognise. And that's, to me, what, for the first half of this film, the demon is representing there. Because when she is possessed, her friends just put it down to withdrawal symptoms, and she's crazy, and, you know, she did it to herself. She just is, like, when she comes back with the scratches and the thorns, she's like, oh, she's just looking for attention. So there's that side of it, and that's something that the original's not doing. So that's elevating, you know, the concept, this high concept cabin in the woods story is elevating that a little bit and bringing a little bit more character study to it and a little bit more meaning. And then another side of it is the sexual assault in the woods. You know, like Mia is sexually assaulted, and again, no one believes her, and there's trauma that comes with that and not being believed, and I think that's part of it as well. When she comes back and says, I was attacked in the woods, there was a woman in the woods, they go, just go and take a shower and take off your clothes. Like, go, you know, there's parts like that. And then David says it's all in her head, tells her to get it together. The nurse, Olivia, says she probably did it to herself. I'm pretty sure there's so many victims of sexual assault that has been told that, did it really happen like you said? You know, maybe you're kind of making up, maybe you're a little bit drunk when it happened. So again, it's tying the, like, you know, the drug abuse and sexual assault together. As I said, you know, 45 minutes into the film, the film doesn't care about these thematic subjects anymore, and it's just gory violence. And I guess the other message is, like, curiosity killed the cat that's hanging from the ceiling, because Eric, you know, it's all Eric's fault. He's the one that finds the book. He's the one that decides to open the book. He's the one that reads from the book. He's the one that sketches the indents from the book. Like, if he wasn't so curious, they would have possibly been fine.
Yeah, he would have been, yeah. I think when I saw it first back in the day, and then, you know, you learn obviously that Mia is a junkie. I loved that aspect of the story where she's there to kick this habit. And I thought that was very, very, very clever writing, because like you said, it's like everything that happens to her, that is the excuse for them just to be like, she's after nut, but when she's actually going through the withdrawals, but then she's also going through, you know, being possessed by a demon, and they're just like, this is all in your head kind of thing. And I think it's a really, really clever way of presenting the film and her character.
Totally. And it's not the first film to have quite a lot of horror films, you've got a female lead. And what they do is, you know, it'll be like a haunted house film. Mm-hmm. And in the haunted house film, they will be like, this house is fucking haunted. But she'll have some sort of traumatic past where the husband is like, away you going, shite, you're talking rubbish. You know, it's all in your head. And it's kind of like gaslighting. And then until shit hits the fan and the husband's like, fuck, she was right. And that's kind of part of the character arc. So this isn't the first one to do it, but I think it is interesting that they're using the demonic possession as a metaphor at the same time for the drug addiction and stuff like that as well.
I think on it as well for the actor that played her, I think it's Jane Levy, I think her name is. Man, I think her performance is absolutely phenomenal. I think it's unreal what she's done. She's the best thing in this film, and it's interesting because obviously I think, how do you remake a film like The Evil Dead, and then it's like you get a character who's so larger than life, like Bruce Campbell is in the original, Ash's character, and then to have it sort of flipped to this young female actor who she just seems so sincere and so mature in this, and I think every time she's on screen, she just does stuff that's different. I think she's absolutely phenomenal in this.
I love this scene after she's been attacked in the woods and she's back in the bedroom and her brother comes in and she just leans in like this and it cuts to like a close up and it's just her lips moving and you can still feel the full performance. And I think that's the part where she's like, he's not gonna let you leave. But her like chin is like chittering in that, and the brother's like, you alright? You alright? Take a shower. Take a shower. I'm just going to leave.
And it's interesting because at this point, it's not fully went into the film yet, but Olivia does say, look, this is going to be bad, but he kind of just brushes it. He says something about having a party or something that night, and Olivia's like, she's going to go through withdrawal. This is going to be bad, and he's almost just like dismissive, as if, no, she's strong, she's fine, it's going to be great.
Yeah, until he finds out she OD'd.
And until she finds out she OD'd. And I think for his character, who we find out throughout the film that David wasn't there when Mia's mum was basically dying. Mia was left with that responsibility, and probably as a result of that, she's turned to drug. I mean, it's not really alluded if she was a drug addict before, but I'd imagine it's probably maybe afterwards. So for him, it's almost like this is something that he has to face. This is his kind of turn of kind of doing that.
This is a great segue to my next point. But
Oh,
just before that,
point, my man.
I can't remember if it is, but is his job a doctor? Mechanic, okay.
Aye, Gary. Aye. Yeah.
That makes total sense. That was one of my points. Says he just knew what he was doing with the wires and cables and stuff. Yeah, thank you. No, that's fine then, because I was wondering if he was a doctor and then she's drugs and mum was ill. There's a kind of health thing there, but I was wrong. So let's just patch that and move on. But what you're talking about there takes me to my next point, which is main character and final girl or guy. Who's the main character in this film?
Man,
Is it Mia or is it David?
It's one of my points as well, because for a large part of the film, Mia is the antagonist. She's the one. Well, is she? Well, I guess she is, but they're trying to save the antagonist. Yeah, but large parts of the film, it's like David's the main. I think probably they both are.
Yeah, I would say. So me personally, I would say it's David.
Okay.
Right, because you're right. Mia's the antagonist, and she is basically locked in the basement for most of the film. So that's not really where you want your protagonist to be. You don't want your main character just locked in a cupboard for most of the film. So David to me feels like the final girl, and then that is subverted obviously at the end where David is killed, which I think people wouldn't have seen coming. And it's another reason I give bonus points to this film after the original Evil Dead, right? Because, you've got Bruce Campbell, you've got Ash, he's the hero, he's in the denim blue shirt. So the filmmakers knew what they're doing. They're like, let's put him in the same shirt. Everyone will go, this is our new Ash, but they called him David. How boring compared to Ash. But even more than that, right? So what they do is they set it up perfectly, right? Because every character in every film, every main character in every film should have an arc, right? They start off as one person, and then by the end, they're changed through the journey of the film. David is the person that changes. He wasn't there for his mum or his sister. He ran away from the problems. We learned that. So now he's the one that has to face the problems. He has to try and save his sister or kill her. He has to make the decisions to take her to the hospital or keep her going cold turkey in the cabin. Mia doesn't get that. Like, she's trying to kick drugs, but she doesn't face any other decisions. She's not a decision maker in the film. It's David has to decide what to do, and he has to have plans of actions. So we totally believe that he's going to survive to the end, and then it subverts it again by killing David off and then bringing Mia back out as our final girl. Yeah. And I think that's really cool. And again, that's where I'm like, this film's doing a lot more than what just seems to be on the surface. It's playing with us a little bit, knowing that it's a requel, remake, or whatever you want to call it. It knows what we're expecting and changes stuff.
And on that, what you just said there, it's really cool how we're introduced to Mia when she's sitting on Ash's car from the first film, where she's sitting there and then David comes in, and it's a beautiful scene, but it's almost just what you said there. It's like with Ash's car there, it's almost like handing over the mantle a little bit, but to both of them essentially, because you would probably need two characters to fucking compare with Ash's one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And let's just while we're talking about it, what a bloody good finale. See what I did there? See that?
I did. I seen that.
Seen that there.
That was good.
You've got the blood downpour. You've got the badass final girl with one arm and a chainsaw fighting a demon that's wielding its own machete. Like, it's just a great ending. And if I was to nitpick slightly, it takes too long to get there. Like, this film's only 90 minutes. I think you could cut 5 minutes off the.
It does feel longer.
It just towards the end. I think we're speeding through it, like with all the different deaths and all really creative deaths as well, how they each go. But then between Eric and David being left and deciding what to do, and then taking Mia, like going to burn Mia in the cellar, then he decides he's not going to do that, he's going to bury her outside, and then Eric comes back, and then we finally get to the final girl. It does take a little bit long to get there, but it's still worth the wait with that finale. I personally think so. It's good.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? My next point's on the sound design and the mix. And it's interesting because, like, when I watched it again a couple of nights ago, like, I felt like there was something missing from it. And I couldn't pinpoint what it was until tonight when I was standing over there listening to it on these speakers and then watching everybody react to it. And it just made the film better for me as a whole. One of those reasons is down to the sound design. I think the mix, I think everything about it. The way they scream, some of the characters at the start in the cold opening, the way the demon, once it's been set on fire, sort of screams fuck. The way it screams it is just like it's sort of agonizing. Mm-hmm. And throughout the film, there's loads of that, and you get it obviously with a lot of the effects with when she cuts off her arm and things, and just all those little bits of detail just sort of add to it and just make the film pop.
Yeah, I would say as well that the demon itself has got this kind of like rattlesnake tick as well. That's kind of cool. It's like it kind of clicks as it enters a room and things. Yeah, and that's how you know when it's like took over another body. It's like it'll be in the shadows and you'll just hear this like clicking noise, and then you're like, oh shit. Yeah,
even Mia down in the basement when she's just sort of rambling, and it's just creepy, isn't it? It's just and there's a lot of cool shots as well where the camera zooms in and it's like a crescendo of noise and it just goes silent, stops.
The way when David gets shot with the shotgun from Mia, and then it kind of goes into like a high frequency pitch, and then the camera cuts outside the cabin, everything goes silent, and then the camera charges towards the door blows open, and then you hear the scream and the chaos inside the room. So it does really play with the sound design. Another thing I noticed with the sound design was there's this kind of like World War II siren that's really in the background, which kind of, is like all about, well, I was going to say panic, but I guess it's alertness to chaos, and it plays through it, and then it really blares at the end for that final battle that comes through. I don't really know why they chose that specific sound design, but it reminds me of, horror fans in the audience will know this, it reminds me of Silent Hill. Well, Silent Hill uses that kind of World War II alarm as well, so anytime I hear it, I'm like, I love this.
You spoke about it towards, Mia's character and her arc and things, but what was the deal with David putting her in the red dress before he buries her alive?
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
I've got a great answer for it.
It's an Evil Dead film, shut up and just watch it?
Yeah, but basically, I was going to say the director clearly was like, it'd be cool if she was in a red dress and red blood pouring down. Let's do that.
Rain and Blood, Slayer. Just go mad. Right.
But if I was to think about the story, it's a burial, right? He doesn't know if she's going to survive it, and it's like putting her in a nice dress to say goodbye. It's a funeral, I guess, is the inside story.
Just a lot of time to be putting something in a dress when there's the fate of the world at stake.
Yeah, but as a man in the audience says, he knows how to rig up this gear as fast as anything, so he's got the time.
True, that's true.
There's some great lines as well. One from Eric, I don't want to become the devil's bitch, which I just absolutely thought was a great line, just the way he delivered it. And then obviously the final line in the film is feast on this bitch, which I thought was great just before the chainsaw goes in. Eric himself, like we're talking about character arcs with David, Eric's the only other character in this that I would say has a clear character arc. He's holding on to this grudge that David hasn't been there for them. They seem to have been like best friends from childhood, and David's just kind of done a bunk, and you can see he's really, really pissed off at this. He has little digs through the film, and then towards the end, he says something like, "I really missed you. Do you know that?" And he's just kind of glad to be working with him again, or being together, and it takes him to face death to basically say, "I forgive you."
Yeah.
To David, and I think that's really nice. And like in a film by this point, it's just wacky, and there's still this little tender moment between the two of them that the film manages to fit in. If I'm right in saying this director went on to do Alien Romulus,
Yep,
as well, and I do really, I wasn't the biggest fan of Alien Romulus. I think there was really good things in it, but I think this director with a great script can deliver a great fucking film.
Yeah.
Man, like
this was his first feature, wasn't it?
yeah, or at least first American.
First America. Oh, okay,
It might be his first as well. Yeah.
it's not bad for your first feature film. Huh?
It's better than mine.
You didn't have a budget though.
I didn't have a budget,
like
no.
whatever how much this film cost to make. What was the line that when David's saying to Eric when he's looking through the book? He's like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "What do you mean? Am I sure? I'm not fucking sure this isn't a science book."
Yeah, it's a great
Fucking brilliant.
such a good line as well. Yeah. What I was going to say as well is MD just gives a raise of the hands. Anyone seen Scream 7? No. Yeah. Well done. Well done.
You're not missing much.
But there's a scene, it's in the trailer, so I'm not really spoiling anything, but there's a scene in the trailer of Scream 7 where Sydney and her daughter are in between the walls of the house, and Ghostface is like trying to stab through the walls to get to them. There's a really similar scene in this where it's me at the end and the demons stabbing through the walls with the machete when she's in between the woodshed. This just does it so much fucking better because one, it's just so much more tense, and two, the person being pursued actually gets hurt. She gets stabbed by the machete. I guess I've just spoiled Scream where they don't. Sorry, but like this is what I mean with direction and that, like how to play such just a small part of the film and it still feels really tense and energetic, and you're like, oh, this is now the final girl. She's fine, and then the machete comes through and actually slices her arm and things like so. It's still really good filmmaking, yeah.
There's something on Mia's performances throughout the film, and it's like she changes physically, but some of her, I don't know if this was her choice or if it was down to the director or both, but when she obviously she pours her heroin down the well, but I think it was really, really cool when she keeps going about the smell, right? And she's sitting there and she's, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you people, but that smell fucking reeks.
And she's not possessed at this point.
She's not possessed at this point. But what's interesting to me is she almost seems like a crazy mum there at this point. And then afterwards, when Eric gets the book, and the way she circles around the table with this sort of stature, and she's like, you shouldn't have opened that book. Or she does something where you're like, it's almost like a little bit of she's becoming her mum.
Yeah.
Essentially. But I thought, again, going back to it, I think her performance is just incredible.
Just on that as well, I know I did watch the making of, or like some behind the scenes videos of it, and she was buried.
That's pretty cool.
She was buried outside for that scene.
Cool.
She was put in the ground. Obviously, they made it safe, but it was like they turned on the rain and got David to bury her for real to try and get a better emotion from him at the end, which I thought was really cool. And I know Fede Alvarez is the director, and he basically sat all the cast down and went, this is going to be the hardest film probably of your life because we're going to put you through the ringer with all like the blood, the effects, the amount of time you're going to have to spend in makeup. We're shooting nights. It's going to be cold. Do it now while they're still in pre-production, and then you have got scenes then when they're burying them for real and things like that, which I thought was pretty cool. Also noticed as well, did you MD click when just before David, well, I guess he kills himself, but before he's about to get attacked, he sees the shotgun and he just kind of kicks the bottom of it and catches it, and it's so cool. A little too cool for the rest of the film, right? And I was like, this is, and at the point I seen it, it reminded me of From Dusk Till Dawn, Right at the start of Dust Till Dawn, right at the start of From Dust Till Dawn, George Clooney's in the kind of shop, the petrol station, and he just nudges the shelf, and I think he brings down like some toilet roll, lights it on fire, and throws it, and it's George Clooney, so it's cool, right? But when David did it, I was like, this is just like George Clooney in From Dust Till Dawn, and then like 10 minutes later, Mia's in the shed, and she's having to load the chainsaw with petrol. And she just looks up, sees it, nudges the shelf, catches it. And at this point, I'm like, this is too cool for the rest of the film. But to play devil's advocate, the two of them are brother and sister, so maybe they would act the same like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe they get away with it there.
Yeah. And I guess as those little kind of nods, like I guess, well, probably not as subtle as you'd think, but to sort of something that Ash would do.
Yeah.
Because that's a total Ash move.
Well, again, talking about the final girl, final guy, there is a part where David eyes the chainsaw run about the midpoint of the film, and your first time watch, you're like, he's going to use that later. But then he doesn't. It's Mia. So again, it's just subverting that as well. What do you think of the friend dynamic? Do you think sometimes you watch like slasher films and films from like the 80s and 90s, and you just think, these people wouldn't be friends. Like, you usually got the geek, the hunk, the good-looking one, the virgin, and you're like, these people would not hang about together, really. What do you think of this group? Do you think they would?
I don't know. I kind of wish there was a little bit more of getting to know them and seeing a bit more of their characters and who they are. They don't really stand out. Natalie is basically absent from the first half of that film. She says one line when Mia goes, talking about the smell, and she's like, but there's no smell. You're like, that's it. That's your one line.
She slices the beef later, I think.
But she gets into it a bit more later. I think, and that's maybe the idea of giving those characters a little bit of time to breathe, put Mia in the fucking basement because she's after nut, and you start to get a bit more of Natalie. But as a whole, I don't think they gel okay, but I don't think there's much to them. But again, it's an Evil Dead film.
Yeah.
Or is it an Evil Dead film? That's another question we should ask.
It's an Evil Dead film, aye. But what I'd say is, Natalie, I think it's okay. She doesn't get much to do because she's an outsider. She's David's new girlfriend. Like, so she should be kind of,
I suppose,
maybe pushed to the outside. I get the vibe that Olivia's David's ex as well at the start. Yeah? Yeah. And then, so that's kind of that dynamic. And then, obviously, Eric and David being friends from a young age again, and then obviously Mia's the sister. I don't know how Mia then ties into because it seems like David's group of friends, but they seem to be looking after Mia and know about her drug addiction. So there's a weird dynamic there, but I think it kind of works for the most part. Yeah. Shall we open it up to the audience?
Let's do it.
Yeah. They got any thoughts on the film at all? Any things they want to say that we're talking shite about?
Thank you. Did you notice that the nails, when he nailed down the hatch, were exactly the same as the ones from the nail gun? Nails from nail guns don't have heads on them, right? So they obviously took a big bunch of nails with them on the set. And just, that was the first thing I could see, obvious, right? These are just minor things of it. And the other thing was, near the halfway through the film, when he came down the steps into the basement, the steps all broke up. Yes. Later on, they were perfect.
No, I think they slightly crack.
They slightly crack. Yeah.
No, they broke. They broke in half.
Oh, I don't know.
Saw that.
But what I will say, you've reminded me of something else there, is Natalie, when it's the scene that she holds out the knife, the blade, the Stanley knife. And the demon licks the knife and slices her tongue. I know a few people in the audience loved that scene. But Natalie's just sitting there because she can't get up the steps because they're broke. And then suddenly David opens the hatch and she can get up them absolutely fine.
That's
so
right, yeah.
That's a bit where I was like, this doesn't quite work there. So, yeah.
I enjoyed it anyway. I enjoyed the whole thing. I did.
Good.
And there was not a moment where there wasn't anything happening, It kept you going constantly.
Absolutely.
There was no big, long stretches. Which I like.
It didn't waste any time.
What did you think of the sound?
Fair to middling. It was all right.
Yeah. Anybody else? Well, we've got the mic up.
I think David's character was useless Honestly, I feel like just not the actual character, but I feel like the person playing him was emotionless. His delivery was just substandard. I honestly like. My God, the people that did the casting were having a day off. I'm sorry. Everyone else was great. Like, honestly, I thought, well, Natalie was a bit shy. But she was like, you could replace her with a cardboard cutout. You've cut my arm off. Oh, it's so boring looking at her. I was just like, kind of, I want something from you. And the only point was, even when she was cutting her arm off, she was like, it's like, what? You're cutting your arm off. You should be like,
She is possessed at this point.
Yeah, I suppose. But like, I don't know, but I wanted to feel something. I wanted to, it's like your arm's getting cut off. That's what, because I remember the first, the first people, the Bruce Campbell and stuff, and he's so emotive. He's like, he's like kind of big face, lots of emotion. But I felt with some of these characters, it was like vacuous in terms of emotion. Like when he, like, I've forgotten the bookie guy, the nerd. Eric. Sorry. When David like has him in the cellar and he eventually dies, he's like, oh well, just put you in the water. Like, what? Come on, your pal's just died and there's nothing on your face. You're like, oh well, I'm gonna go bury my sister. It's like, I don't know. I just felt, especially David, so weak. In terms of a performance, he was so like, it was just like, come on, like fill up the glass, put something in there in terms of emotion. I just feel like that David was just boring.
So you felt like you got your money's worth tonight?
No, I definitely did. No, technically the film, I was so happy to see physical props. There was obviously a little bit of CGI, but it was well blended in. It was well blended. Like, it's so hard sometimes to find horror films now that actually use physical props, because obviously there is a lot of cost with that, with special makeup. I was looking at the credits. There was 20 plus people working on all the makeup, and you can see that's where the money went.
Yeah.
But find some hidden talent, please. That's casting's job. Find some hidden talent. That's all I've got to say anyway.
This is why it's, thank you very much. This is why it's great to do the live podcast, because we don't want to shit in the film, but other people in the audience will come up and literally just do that for us as well. Is there anyone else got anything they want to say on the film?
I've been avoiding it for years because the trailer was too scary and I'm a big shite bag. No, it was just on your point about like if they went to New York, would the demon have like a 6-mile radius? And that's what I thought was like, you said did they never see it in the cabin as children, but maybe they was contained in the cabin after they've left, because it seems like David just abandoned his family, which where's the da? Actually, let's just ask questions about that. Let's where's the da? Right? No mention of the da. Where did he go? Was the da one of the people in the crowd? I don't know, right? But maybe the locals have contained it in that cabin, because it does seem like there is this kind of radius of it doesn't go any further than that. So that was, when you said that, I was like, that kind of makes sense to me. But the other thing is I don't think David and the nurse, what's her name? Olivia, I don't think they're exes. Oh. But I think something happened before
Shaggles.
David... I think something happened before David done the off, and that's why there was the animosity there as well between them, because I think Eric, as much as the entire film is his fault, whole thing's his fault, let's be honest. I think he's been left to deal with not only David's sister's drug addiction, but the heartbroken Olivia.
I agree. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Good.
I was going to say something else there. Like maybe if David gave a better performance, we could have worked out his relationship with Olivia a bit better. As well. But on the cabin thing, I think that's interesting, because I take a different reading from it. 100% no right answer, but I feel like this book was never in the cabin. There's another history, another backstory there, where the cold open, the woman in the start is possessed by the demon. It's to do with the book. The locals have caught her in the forest and went to the cabin to do the ritual and then left it there. So I don't think it's maybe it's now contained to the cabin, as you're saying. I don't know if that's its history. I think there's more way before that they've just stumbled upon the cabin, broke in with a crowbar, nice setup for it to be used later, and then did the ritual there, the sacrifice.
Am I right in saying there's 3 books though in the Evil Dead?
Now I think there's 3
lore?
books. Yeah,
There's 3 books, but I think that there was 3 in Army of Darkness.
I've not seen Army of Darkness. Don't shoot me.
Sorry. But I think that's what they're alluding to is like in this one, it's a different volume of the same book. So maybe it is. Maybe it's like.
Do you get them paperback as well? Skin back only. Skin back only.
Different book. Each book only goes 6 miles, and then that's it. It's contained.
Fair. We would like to, if there's one confident person in the audience who wants to try and do our quiz, we've got 10 questions on the film. You said James should do it. I agree. James, come on up. Go on, that's it.
If anybody wants to do it, I'm sure Angus will do it.
Go on, round of applause for James.
James, am I?
You told me you were very confident about this film before you came tonight, so...
Go on.
Okay. Question number 1. What is the first thing we see Mia doing when she's sitting on the car at the start?
She's drawing.
Yeah. Can you name what she's drawing?
It was circles and lines.
Yeah, I mean, circles and lines made up the cottage, so yeah, I'll give you that one. Cheers.
Good one. Okay, where did Mia and Dave's mother pass away? Not like a city or anything, but in a specific place.
Care home or asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah, asylum.
Nice.
Asylum.
What was the dog called?
Oh, that was a strange name. It was, I can't remember.
You might be perhaps old enough to be one. That's not an insult. Just saying he's mature. It was Grandpa.
Yes, that's why I noticed it. But being dyslexic, I forgot that.
Okay, what are the 3 methods of purifying a possessed person?
Burning.
Yep.
One was burying.
Yep.
And the other one was chopping the body up.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, nice.
Round of applause. Nice. Well done. Okay, next one.
It's a trick question, so I'll give you a heads up here. Who finds the hatch, the cellar door?
Who finds the hatch now? So the dog.
That's it.
finds
There you go. Yeah, thank you, the dog.
The type of tree Mia's necklace is made from.
Oh, no, I heard that, but I've forgotten it.
Buckthorn.
What idiot opens the book?
Well, normally that would be me. What's his name with the glasses? Yes.
Okay, this is a ridiculously difficult one, right? So, what word does the 5 characters' first letter of their names spell out? Would you like the initials or would you like the names?
Would you like to ask the question again?
Okay. Okay. So there's the 5 characters in the film. If you take the first initial of each of their names and put it together, it's a word.
This is one of the worst questions that you could ask a dyslexic.
Shit, I shouldn't have asked that. Right? Okay. Shall we ask? What do you want?
There's someone up the back. Yes, it is Demon. Yes, Demon. Okay, final question from me. Who is the first character to die?
Other than the dog.
Other than the dog? Yeah, I guess it's the dog. But
Oof.
we'll go with the dog. I was looking for Olivia, who gets her head smashed in with half of a toilet seat.
She deserved it.
All right.
She deserved it, man.
Can we get a round of applause for James, please?
Well done, James.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On the deaths, right? So see the whole kind of the soul theory about 5 souls opens up, resurrects this abomination, right? Who are the 5 souls? Because Mia does die, but she gets brought back to life again. So does that still count?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like that's why he was able to bury her and bring her back, because that still counted to heal her.
Still counted that. Okay.
I had to count that, yeah. But then where does the 6th soul come into it? The cold open. The dog.
The dog.
Fucking dog as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some kind of theory because they spoke about this originally. I don't know if it's probably not going to happen now, but there was supposed to be a sort of tie-in where this was leading up to Ash and Mia teaming up. I think they were talking about it for a film, if not maybe even Ash versus Evil Dead, the TV show. So it's obviously not materialized. At the end of this film, there are 2 post-credit scenes. The first one is Mia walking down the road. A man in a truck picks her up. Asks if she's all right. Fucking hell, she's bleeding everywhere. But anyway, and she's lying down in the back of the truck, and the camera's just sort of on her face. Her eyes are closed, and then they just open, and it cuts.
Right.
So that's kind of going right. She's still possessed then. So that theory with the soul kind of goes, well, how can she be? Is she soulless? I don't know. But and then at the end of this film, the very, very, very end, after the credits roll, you hear, is it a chainsaw goes off?
Oh yeah, I know this. Yeah.
And then the camera pulls up, and it's Ash, and he looks to the camera and says, "Groovy," and it cuts.
Yeah.
So there is that thing where this does exist in the same universe. There was a theory where it's like they team up to find Mia's soul,
I kind of like that.
which is kind of cool. But I don't think it's going to materialize.
I don't think so. And Bruce Campbell has been an executive producer on this film and Evil Dead Rise. I think he is on the new one, Evil Dead Burn, that's coming out as well. However, he said after that he's stepping back from producing roles in general.
Diagnosed with cancer.
He has also been diagnosed with cancer as well. So, yeah, it's tough, but he's doing all right. David, have you fell asleep there?
Sick, David.
Oh, right. Oh, jeez, oh.
You having a wee moment of yourself there? Just slap.
Apologies. What's your favourite kill or scare?
I think mine's is Natalie's death.
Yeah.
I think it's just the way it's shot, that sort of reveal where I think it's quite picturesque, the way she's standing in that blood and the arm is just dangling, but it's still just pouring. Yeah. I just think it was a really nice done sequence.
Me too, but Angus will disagree. And
Angus
say,
will actually shite.
Yeah. I would say mine is probably Olivia's slicing her jaw and just the way she turns and looks over her shoulder at Eric. That just sticks in my mind. In my mind, yeah. What would you rate the film out of 5?
I was going to maybe go 3.5, but then after watching it tonight with you lovely people, I'm going to go for a 4. I think it's 4 chainsaws out of 5. Yeah.
I totally agree. I actually do think this is a 4 out of 5 horror film. Other than the acting being a bit hammed up. But I do, other than that, that's where it loses a few points for me. Loses half a point for the acting being a bit, and half a point maybe just it takes too long to get to the end. But other than that, 4 out of 5 arms.
Yeah, farewell to arms. I think we kind of mentioned it earlier, is it an Evil Dead film and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, I'm not really interested in that because, like we spoke about before, is that trilogy, spanning what I think it was 82 to 92, that 10 years it's a period that's kind of, cemented in time. Those films are iconic, but it's just it's a different way. Films were just different back then, and the audiences were terrified, particularly the first film, because it was quite shocking. It was over the top. To us watching it now, we look back and you kind of laugh at it, but for audiences back then, highly, highly effective. And I think what makes this film this is a good horror film, period. And whether or not you want to argue about, is it an Evil Dead film, is it not, it's kind of, I don't really.
If I was hired to remake a film, I wouldn't want to do it like the exact same.
You can't.
Right?
No.
A good example of that is they remade, like 10 years later, 20 years later, Cabin in the Woods. Not Cabin in the Woods, Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever.
They remade it, and it's literally a shot-by-shot remake. Everything's the same. The dialogue, it's like, what is the point? So on your point, is it Evil Dead? Another example where they took the concept and changed it was the remake of Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's. So it's like, we're going to do zombies, we're going to set it in a shopping mall, that's all we're doing, it's the same, new characters, and the zombies now fucking run. Deal with it. But it was great. It was a great standalone horror film. And I think it's kind of the same with this. And this had mixed reviews, but it had enough good reviews that Evil Dead Rise, the one that followed it, is the same tone as this one, not the tone of the originals. So it's almost, and then Evil Dead Burn is coming out, I think will be this tone. So I think you're going to have the first trilogy and then the second trilogy, and I think that's how they'll do it.
Absolutely.
But we need to wrap this up. So before we do, I'm going to give my creative recommendation, and then Steg will give his. My creative recommendation I just mentioned is the original Eli Roth's Cabin Fever. If you do like a film that's just mostly set in a cabin with a group of horny teenagers, check out Cabin Fever. It's got some body horror similar to this.
Is that why you like it? Horny teenagers?
Do you know what? I didn't really have a comeback, but now I'd
Comeback?
come back. Yeah, I know I did there. But
choice of words.
but there's a scene in Cabin Fever that two people go to get it on, and it will put you off sex. Let's just put it that way. So I'll leave it there. Check it out. What is your creative recommendation?
Yeah, I'll stick with the theme of the cabin in the woods, and we'll go with
Cabin in the Woods.
in the woods. Yeah, hands up if you've seen it. It's pretty good, isn't it? I think it sat on a shelf for 2-3 years before it actually was released, and I think that's the film Hemsworth got Thor from doing that.
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
It's pretty good. Isn't
Again,
it?
he's playing the hunk in that.
Yeah.
like we spoke about those character dynamics there. Yeah. Great choice as well. I've deliberately not watched it for a while because I kind of just want to see it in a big screen again. That's not what's playing next month. Unfortunately, unless you've got anything else, Stig, that's all we've got time for.
Yeah. Next month.
Alistair's like, yep, I need to get my train. Can we get a round of applause for the old hairdressers? A round of applause for Lewis up the back on tech. Woo! And a round of applause to you for coming out, because if you weren't here, we wouldn't be doing a live podcast, so thank you. Yeah.
I mean, we probably still would have. We could sat here.
Yeah, we could have just sat here to the empty room.
When are we next year again?
So we are going to be here end of April, the last Sunday in April. I can't remember the exact date. I should really write that down. We will not tell you what the film is because it's a secret as well. But what I will say is we will be having a special guest on the stage with us dissecting the film. If you're liking what you're hearing, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram at The Horror Cut Show. You can follow us there on TikTok as well. Or you can join the Facebook group The Horror Cut Show on Facebook, where you can leave your thoughts and comments on the films that we are reviewing as well. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for, but thank you again. Steg, anything else?
No.
Cool. And remember,
Thanks very much, guys.
Don't take drugs. Thank you. Cheers.
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
We're friends to the end, remember?
This is the end, friend.